Oh, okay. So here's an interesting thought. You see, we have this idea of reality, even though we may not realize we have this idea, and that is that we think that we're thinking. But 99% of the thoughts that people have, as a friend of mine, a real genius, said, most people think what they think because they think someone else had that thought. In other words, it's obvious that, you know, 2 billion Christians didn't all come up with the same idea independently. They're obviously following other people that have the same idea, and 1.4 billion Muslims as well. Nobody comes up with these ideas. So basically, I mean, it's a remarkable concept that you could have billions of people following, because most people do that. They follow. And the reason we follow is because it's scary to be different. In fact, to be different often, some of our greatest leaders, such as Moses, King David, they had to be separated from their society in order to give them the consciousness and the growth of their own opinions, because otherwise what we do is our need to be part of our society is so great that we actually think that we're thinking, but we're not thinking, we're following. And so the three things that are most important to ask ourselves are, number one, what do I think is true? Because truth is not what a group of people think. I mean, obviously somebody's wrong and there's only one truth. So what do I think is true? You have to ask yourself that question. You have to be able to get past the group think. And the second thing is, what do I think I should be doing? Because truth doesn't necessarily lead to action. Truth is like Aristotle said the greatest pleasure is intelligence. And so it's true. People, there were kings that abandoned, they could have had anything, and they just went for intelligence. They were into philosophy, etc. But the bottom line is, what do I think I should be doing? Because what you know is true may be very nice, but are you acting on it? Are you doing the truth that you know? What do you think you should be doing? And the last, but not, if you want to call it the most important question in life, is, do I feel safe? Because when we don't feel safe, we often do many mental gymnastics to actually feel safe, and we'll maybe get into relationships that we'll be acquiescing to people we shouldn't be acquiescing to. So follow these three things, which is, what do I believe? What do I think I should be doing? And do I feel safe? And try to get yourself into safety. I'll try to put a link to KabbalahLove.org so you could go from fear to love.